Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
With the big, bold flavour of HP sauce, making breakfast legendary.
This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio with Alan Cockerel and Isy Suttie is with us this morning. You can text the show on 81215, follow the show on Twitter at Frank on the Radio, email the show via the Absolute Radio website. We have technical problems this morning, so I'm more high energy to compensate. What do you think? I think it's working. Yeah, listen to me. Listen to me. Listen. Can you send lichen to me if you have any, if you live near a forest?
What is... Oh, like...
Some say lichen. No, it's probably not you say, but I already said lichen, so I'll stop with it as a pronunciation. Why don't you get off my back? You're having a good time! That's what they want. That's all they want.
I say lichen.
Yeah, lichen is probably right.
Lichen.
Okay.
I mean, that could be today's text. It could be today's technical problem, actually. When you said we've got technical problems, I wasn't anticipating this being it. How would you pronounce lichen?
Lichen is... what about chicken licking?
Chicken lichen? Isn't that a dish?
By the way, if you're don't lick raw chicken if you're at home.
Good rule. Good rule.
If they're alive, I think it's all right.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're just licking feathers.
Yes. Yeah, so Isy Suttie is with us this morning.
Yes,
Good morning, Isy.
Morning.
It's a sort of... One could say that it's not Saturday, it's Suttie Day. Suttie Day.
Very good.
Hey? That's what you should call your next Saturday show.
Okay.
Okay. You can have that.
Were you looking forward to doing that joke as much as playing the first record?
I've been looking forward to doing that joke since, I'd say Thursday it came to me. If you really want to know.
Suttie Day Night Fever.
Suttie Day. Suttie Day! Suttie Day! Suttie Day! Suttie Day! I should have phoned Elton and asked him if he'd do that for me.
That would have been good.
Yeah, can you imagine how he'd respond? How did you get this number?
Something like that.
David! Call the police! No, it'd have been all right. He might have been all right with it. You know, he's the sort of bloke who might have done it if you get him in the right mood.
Caught him at the right time.
I think out of anyone of his sort of peer group, he'd do it.
Not out of anyone. Some of them haven't worked for 30 years. If I'd say I'll put you a £5 in a greetings card in the post, like your uncle used to, they'd have gone for it. Anyway, welcome, Izzy.
Thank you.
You've been on the show before as a guest, I think, in the days before we got bored of guests.
Yeah, I think I've been on here a couple of times,
yes.
actually. Yeah.
I think you were with us in our formative, very
before
early
we got bored
on.
of guests, you haven't polished that story up much, have you? Before we got bored of guests.
Well, that's what happened, isn't
I think it was you that got bored of guests.
Okay, it was me.
And I think myself and Izzy began our careers on this show as guests.
I've played it down. I came to hate guests. It's the truth of it. Just when they walked in, I just wanted to spit in their faces. Not all guests. That's it. Okay, that's enough. That'll do. So anyone now who was a guest heard that will think, it doesn't mean me. That's fine. No, it wasn't. I'm not questioning anyone's individual essence, but just the whole thing of the guest thing, having to ask about their latest product.
You have to watch it or read it, I suppose.
Well, let's not go as far as to say that. But there was an element to that, yeah. Anyway, it's gone. Forget about it.
0044 has texted, you could liken it to moss.
Liken it.
Oh,
yeah.
That's nice.
Nice, isn't it?
That's absolutely
It started
fabulous.
with a pun.
It started with a pun. I'm enjoying it so far. I don't care about technical problems.
Me neither.
I should tell you, I'm actually holding two wires together. That's how this show is going out. And it feels all right. I'm wearing gum boots, which I had to put on, apparently. That's what the man said. But it all seems to be working. And also my hair now, all my grey hair has gone back to its original colour. Yeah,
very strange.
Finally, I could make a fortune out of this. Oh, but when I say I could make a fortune out of this, what am I pointing at? You'll never know.
You're listening to the Frank Skinner podcast from Absolute Radio. Want your Frank fix a little sooner? Listen live every Saturday from 8 a.m. on Absolute Radio. Across the UK on digital radio, mobile apps, and in London and the South East on 105.8 FM.
Absolute Radio.
I went to see the Oresteia this week.
Is that the eye doctor?
No, it's a Greek tragedy.
Oh, is it?
In 3 parts by Aeschylus.
Oh.
It was 3 hours 45 minutes.
Per part?
No, the whole thing.
Goodness.
Be ridiculous.
Yeah.
Well, don't say it like that.
What?
This show's 3 hours after all.
Yeah, but they don't have rock set between.
Yeah, we've got advert
all the
breaks,
verses.
all
No,
sorts
that-
of stuff going on.
that's
Comfort
true.
breaks, I'd say.
So, I loved it. It was great.
Did you?
Yeah. And one of the reasons, I mean, it was brilliant, but also, we've been talking recently, Izzy, about the joy of parking when you get really near to where you want to go, unexpectedly near.
yeah.
And I had an absolute result the other night. I drove to this theatre, and I thought, because my sat-nav took me actually to the door of the theatre, and
Wow.
it was crammed, the road, there wasn't you couldn't have put a £5 note between some of the cars. It was like
Right.
that. And then I turned just down this side road, and I found one parking, and it was tight. I thought I probably can't get in this unless I go in sideways. So I got 4 roller skates under the wheels. No, I didn't. I actually got into the space, and I was so proud. And all through the play, every now and again I'd think, I can do 4 3/4. My car's nice and snug and safe. Just round the corner. Oh, I felt the next day. It came up to me a few times. Came back to me.
Oh, nice.
I had a little warm glow
nice
about that
feeling.
parking. The way I imagine an Oscar winner the next morning lies in bed and thinks, oh, fantastic, I won the Oscar, and goes through the speech. I went through that parking incident.
I did the Oristire at drama school.
Oh, yeah, which part?
The whole thing.
No, but which part were you?
Oh, right. I was
Just the conclusion.
the beginning and the end.
Gets a bit waffly in the middle, I've heard.
I was part of the chorus.
Oh, okay.
But,
Well, that's why you didn't. That's why you deliberately misunderstood my question.
No such thing as small parts, only small players.
Yes, well
Stanislavski.
said. Is that what Stanislavski said?
Yes, not a lot of Stanislavski quotes on the show. But
No.
let's chuck some in.
No, that's true. I see that more as Christian O'Connell's domain.
Yeah.
Excellent.
I
Did you enjoy it?
Yeah, it was hard going. We also we had to eat energy bars to get us through it because it's long. I wonder
It
if
is
they
long.
did that in the one that you went to see.
Well, this was a modern version, but I tell you, it was so good. I honestly, I didn't mind for a second. Although there was a bloke next to me who, he had an Apple phone. I hadn't seen one before. Not an Apple phone, an Apple Watch.
Oh, right, yeah.
And of course, it's never struck me before, but in the theatre, the Apple Watch is a constant temptation because it's just there on your wrist. It's like, not putting the lid back on the box of chocolates.
Yes.
So every now and again, he'd have a little look at his.
Little play around with his new gadget. That's going to come to...
That's better. I got that
I
out
just
the way.
sorted that out.
Yeah, thanks
It'll be a
goodness.
new thing at the theatre when they said
No,
no
that's-
watches. during
Believe
the
me,
show.
you heard it here first, that the Apple Watch is going to ruin theatre and cinema going for everyone. Congratulations. If there's anyone from Apple listening.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
Here's a quiz question for you, Izzy. Aeschylus, who wrote the Oristire, how did he die? It's a famous... It's one of the best comedy deaths of any playwright.
Oh.
Did he go in for the cheese rolling competition in Gloucester and...
I know
kind of
that. I don't know if they've actually had deaths, have they? They've had some quite serious injuries.
Yeah.
I've seen that hill. It's a steepy.
Is it? Yeah, I was trying
Oh.
to think of the most ridiculous death. I could imagine that would be quite...
I don't suppose he
funny way to
travelled
die.
to Gloucester that much.
No, they didn't.
No.
He didn't get about much.
He didn't get about much. I don't know this either.
Well, apparently, this is a thing that eagles do. Eagles, they pick up tortoises in their talons. Eagles got talons, you've seen that show. Pick up tortoises in their talons, and the tortoise then obviously he's in trouble. And then they fly over rocks and drop the tortoise, so they shatter, and then they're able to. The carapace shatters, and they're able to eat the filling. I don't know if it's technically right to call it the filling on a tortoise.
Make them seem a bit like a Cornish pasty.
It would, yeah. But I suppose they are to an eagle.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's what they do. And an eagle did that, and Aeschylus had a bald head, and he mistook it for a rock. So the eagle, this is like the biggest playwright in ancient Greece, he sees the bald head, he drops it, and it kills Aeschylus.
So he's killed by a falling tortoise?
Falling tortoise. I mean, nothing fell in ancient Greece,
No.
There's no aeroplanes.
No skyscrapers.
I don't know if you knew that. No. You didn't have to look up, really. You didn't need to look up for your own personal safety. So you're walking along. His last thought, even though he was a great playwright, his last thought must have been, well, what was that? The eagle, when he realised it was Aeschylus, can you imagine? I bet he thought, I'm getting out of here before anybody gets a good look at me.
It's a hit and run eagle.
Yeah,
hit and fly, I suppose.
Well, that would have been a tough identity parade.
Oh yeah,
8 eagles on a branch.
Yeah,
people going past. Well, I don't know. Taller. I think that one's taller than that one. So it's a great. Not that deaths are ever great, but I mean that is from a comedy point of view.
If you're going to go,
have a tortoise dropped on your head by an eagle.
That's always been my motto.
Yes, it's a good one. I've got. I think you can get T-shirts on the internet.
Yeah.
Keep calm and have a tortoise dropped on your head by an eagle.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, death of Aeschylus there. Oh, absolutely.
Should we go back to your parking stories just to see if we can regain a few listeners?
How's your parking, Izzy? Come on, be honest.
Okay, well,
It doesn't sound like it's good.
Sounds like she's had a breakdown at the thought of it.
What I do is, my friend John drew me what to do on a post-it, which I keep in the glove compartment.
Hold that. We've got to make that a teaser. I'm going to play some music and we come back. A post-it in the glove compartment with how to park.
Yeah.
This is my kind of anecdote.
The Frank Skinner Show. Listen live every Saturday morning from 8 on Absolute Radio.
Izzy, parking. You've got a yellow sticky. Is that right?
It's light brown, actually.
Light brown post-it. Do they do light brown post-its?
Yeah.
Oh, let's not get distracted onto the stationery. Okay. You love stationery.
I do love stationery. So let's imagine you're driving down the road, you see a parking. Can I say this is not, girls can't park. It's I can't park. Can I make that clear? So, carry on.
Okay. Yeah, I drive down, I see the space, and I stop and I get the post-it out. There's also an emergency chocolate bar in the glove compartment.
This could be a long park.
Yeah, well, that's
what you need is Kendall mint cake.
Absolutely, because it can take me upwards of 45 minutes. So I get the post-it out, and my friend John has drawn me some diagrams about, this is for reverse parking.
Yeah.
So he's drawn me, steps. Number 1, check your mirrors. It's quite long.
Yeah.
He's written it
check
small.
Your mirrors. Did you do that? Every man for himself, I always think. Look after your own car.
Yeah.
Really? Check your mirrors.
Yeah, well,
he
knows
parking.
I'm nervous because I passed and I didn't drive for ages, so
yeah.
He thought I'll write everything down in case. So I check the mirrors and everything, and then I go back, and then he's drawn me a diagram of turn full lock. But I get so mixed up as to what way the wheels are pointing.
I know, it's a pain.
Yeah, in conjunction with where the steering wheel is. So,
do you ever get out and have a look?
Oh, yes. And I ask passers-by.
You see, that is if you don't mind me saying, and I don't want to be sexist, but that's the advantage of being a woman, is I just couldn't get out and ask, or otherwise I'd have to take my own life. Whereas I know you're playing into their hands a bit, but I think people will help you. If I get out and say, excuse me, could you stand and do that? Yeah, come back a bit. I think that they'd be disgusted.
Imagine that.
I think people would love it.
If you didn't know me and you were trying to park your car and you jumped out and said, "Excuse me, could you tell me?" and I just went, "Oh, don't worry, love," and jumped in and just parked it for you and walked off, you'd not feel good, would you?
No.
But I wouldn't. I mean, I think if I was a man, I wouldn't mind, because then it'd be parked. And that's like, there's a finite amount of times in my life that I'm going to have to park a car, and that's one ticked off that I didn't have to do.
Why don't the homeless do valet parking?
That's a good point. That's not a bad idea.
I'd be happily give someone a couple of quid just to park my car for me on the street.
You know what? I'm alright at the parallel parking these days, so if I'm ever down on my uppers, I'll consider that.
Yeah.
Well, if you hang around Crystal Palace, you can just wait for me.
But you could have a valet parking T-shirt on your back. You know, it's better than golf sale. And then just walk around, and people, as you're driving down the road, you'd see that bloke and say, "Hop in." And he'd get in the passenger seat, then you'd find a parking space, and then you'd maybe phone a friend or something while he's getting that sorted. Gives you the keys, off you go. 2 quid.
2 quid. I like the fact you've priced it up as well.
Well, I mean, if you get any higher than 2 quid, you might as well go in an NCP, where it's much easier to park.
Good point.
I honestly think that I might have solved the unemployment problem. Have we got to the end of your parking technique yet? Or are we going to have?
I feel like there's another segment to it.
Okay, that's great. I love the idea. It's gone over 3 links.
So there's another person involved who I've not mentioned yet.
Oh, all right. Okay, we'll be back after this break.
You're listening to Frank Skinner's podcast from Absolute Radio.
We've been talking about parking, and we've had an email from a guy called Ed, and it's entitled Car Parking. So obviously I thought, well, this will be grist to the mill for the show, won't it? And I'm not sure if I should read it. He claims that he's not being sexist. That's all I'll say. But he now says, this is his email: "Given that women can't walk by a mirror without checking themselves out, why is it that they never, caps, use shop windows as mirrors to help them park? This was a public service announcement and in no way sexist." I'm not sure it was, Ed.
Well, the first bit, I think he faltered early on. I don't understand how you use shop windows to help you park.
Well, they're like a big reflection, aren't they? If you were to parallel park, you can see how close you are to the vehicle behind.
I can't remember ever parking outside a shop.
Yeah, I've never parked outside a shop.
Oh.
No, stupid idea.
Sorry, Ed, people haven't parked near shops.
All I need is a 10-foot wing mirror on one side. Just tweak that round a bit. So, sorry, Isy, you, how far in your method did we get?
Well,
I think we're
I was checking
Is
the
it
mirrors.
2/3?
Yeah, but basically, if I'm trying to reverse into a space, we've got a little baby now, and my boy, one of us sits in the back with her. So he's in the back with her if I'm driving, my boyfriend is. And he now, because we argue when I'm trying to park, he ducks down and shields his head. As if
that sounds
a
helpful.
Turtle's going to drop on him.
Yeah, exactly.
And he goes, I'm not going to tell you. And the other day, the neighbour, I was on my
I'm not going to tell you. What does that mean?
Well, it means that normally he goes, turn it. No, stop. You've gone too far.
He withdraws his advice.
Yeah.
Oh,
But that's because I get angry and I say, don't tell me what to do.
Yeah,
so we're in a bit of a vicious... But the other day I was on my 7th attempt at reversing into a space next to our house, and the neighbour came out and couldn't see Ellis because he was ducked down and said, "Are you all right? Do you want me to do it for you?" And I said yes, and then Alice was like, "Well, that defeats the point of me ducking down." And then we all sort of laughed.
But it could have been worse. What if the neighbour had said, "You know, I've always loved you"?
And I see you trying to park every day. I just
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah. I love you and I can help you.
Yeah, exactly.
It's perfect.
We could park together.
Harmony, yeah.
Oh, no, that would have been so awkward. I mean, would Ellis have come up or would he just stayed down?
I think he would have stayed down.
Yes, because it would have been too awkward.
You know, I was in a taxi once and
Stop bragging.
Yeah. Money to burn, me. Money to burn. I was in I think it's a big Mercedes, like a new version of the...
No, a taxi. No, it's
taxis.
those things, yeah.
And the driver said, there's a button that you can press on
Did he say,
Yeah, he said, he did, definitely. And there's a button where the wheels turn sideways at the back. And so you can...
Did he demonstrate it?
Yeah. So it does very, very tight U-turns.
Whoa.
But surely the technology exists now where, you know, you were saying that you tried to get in on yours on 4 roller skates. Surely the technology exists for you to press a button.
I've seen that. I've seen it on the
left
I've seen it on YouTube. I've never seen it on the road. I think it's a prototype. Smart car, you can just take them in your arms and place them.
That'd be good, wouldn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Well, see, I learned to drive in a Triumph Toledo, and it had a watermark on the back window, and I used to use that. And it was great parking.
Useful.
But of course, I could never reproduce that mark.
Unless you just kept that window and put it in the back of your newer cars.
Yeah.
It's still there.
That's a thought. I don't know how compatible a Triumph Toledo back window is with a modern vehicle.
No, true.
If anyone knows the answer to that, you can text us on 812 15.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
We've had a few texts and emails that I'd like to bring to your attention. One, I'll tell you his name at the end. Good morning, guys. You're really confusing me today. You know how you can always hear your name when it's mentioned by someone and you look up to see if it's someone who's wanting you? Well, for the last 40 minutes, you keep saying car parking and I keep thinking you are mentioning me. Cheers, Carl Parkin.
That can't be right.
It is. His email address is Carl Parkin. Yeah, I think it's legit, unless he's very quick on the old technology and a fraudster.
Wow.
That's beautiful.
There's one about the Toledo.
The Triumph Toledo?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Fintan says, Toledo rear window not compatible with the newer type cars.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
You see, you don't have to Google with our readers.
No.
You see, they know everything.
I suppose there could be a problem if you were to put it inside another car window and then there was a very hot day. It might create that magnifying glass.
But I could, if I
start searing at your upholstery.
But I don't mind a bit of searing.
In your community.
No, exactly. If I could put the mark on it, couldn't I? If I knew where it was.
Yeah.
Impossible. I was standing waiting for a bus the other day. Much easier, bus driving. If you're a passenger, and a lady went across the road. She was actually, I think, running for a cab, and she fell in the road quite hard, and quite near me. So I thought, well, I have to be chivalrous. So I went over and I grabbed. I said, "You okay? You okay?" And she went, "Yeah, I'm fine. She was very keen to get the cab, and off she went. And a man went past, and I think he was gay, just because he said to me, "Very brave, very helpful," and then he went, "Very famous," and then off he went. I thought I might use it on a poster.
Absolutely made your day, didn't it?
It did. It was lovely. It had everything. It's had everything. It's a lovely story for Pride Day, isn't it?
My friend was on a bus once and someone tried to get on without paying and had an argument with the bus driver and got chucked off. And then he ran across the road and wrenched a rubbish bin out of the pavement and held it above his head and went, "Is this what you want?" And then threw the rubbish bin at the bus and all the rubbish went down the bus like confetti.
Respect.
Skinner, Dean and Cochrane. Together, The Frank Skinner Show.
Absolute Radio.
This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio with Alan Cochrane and Isy Suttie. You can text the show on 81215, follow the show on Twitter at Frank on the Radio, email the show via the Absolute Radio website. Why do I keep saying that?
What?
Why do I keep saying that?
Which bit?
Over and over.
Which bit? The whole of it?
Emailing, texting thing.
It's the top of the hour. It's
a modern age. People
it's a radio tradition, isn't it?
Okay, I've done it. I've done it.
House notices. You know what we need to speak about is President Obama and his heckle put down. Did you see the thing where a guy shouted at him and Obama went, "No,
I think it was a woman. Was it? Oh, it was a transsexual.
It was a person,
yeah,
that's right.
Person.
Because he got lucky, didn't he? Because he said, "Can we get this person?" And he didn't go one way or the other.
No,
it could have been orcs. Hashtag orcs.
Such a politician.
But as a way of putting them down, going, no. When you're in my house, that was great. People really cheered that.
Yeah.
Wait, I see it when you're eating the hors d'oeuvres and the drinking, and we know that's been happening, right? And he got to put them down just by saying, hang on, this is my house, you can't do that.
I know. I find that at film premieres, if they ask you on the way out what you thought of the film, you've got to say you like it, really.
Yes, if you're getting freebies.
If you're going to eat the gatto.
Is that what you go for, the gatto?
Or the gatto at the first Lord of the Rings.
Was there a gatto?
Yeah, there was. I mean, it's a fabulous spread, as you can imagine, but I remember the gatto.
What kind of gatto was it?
Can we stop saying gatto? It's gone really weird.
I think it was, as Roald Dahl would say, the BFG.
Black Forest gatto.
Forest gatto, yeah. Yes, yeah. It was, I remember thinking, and you know what, I didn't love that film at the time.
Right.
And I remember I'd said to someone it was like playing Dungeons and Dragons all night with Enya playing in the background.
Yes.
But I felt bad because the gatto was so good, I thought. Anyway, we all have our price. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean, I think I've extended a couple of relationships by making a nice meal when the relationships were on the rocks. So giving it another...
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
Once me and my ex had a big salad when things weren't going very well. It was so good, he put raisins in it.
Oh, darling, the salad had turned me.
Pie, maybe.
Lemon meringue pie. Some terrible people I've been out with, I would have given them another 3 months for a lemon meringue pie.
Would you 3 months?
3 months, yeah. I would have involved some psychological torture in that time. But by way of a reprimand, not with any real cruelty. So we're all different. But
Obama's moment for me, the bit that I found where I remembered that he's the US president was when he said, actually, can this person, we're going to have to get you taken out. And I thought, well, that could mean a lot coming from the American president.
Exactly.
That is not a heckle put down that everyone's got at their disposal, isn't it?
It's quite good to have that power as a comic.
Yeah.
The bodyguard saying, what here? What? No, not in my house. Not on the carpet. That in my house, that's why I'm not on Twitter. I don't want to be heckled in my own house.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And
so
he does say...
He's on Twitter, isn't he, Obama? I bet he is.
He
Do you think he's doing it? Do you think it's him that's doing it?
I bet he doesn't. I bet it's vetted before he says it.
It must be, mustn't it?
I bet he gets Barrett on it.
Very good.
Hey?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I bet he regularly gets Barrett on it.
Yeah.
Yes. That's what happens. Well, he also said, though, shame on you, you shouldn't be doing this. Right. Which I think would actually, ironically, make quite a good heckle. If you were on stage and someone went, shame on you, you shouldn't be doing this, that's a pretty good heckle.
That's good psychological warfare.
When the heckler sort of reasons with you like that.
Yes.
David Baddiel told me about, he'd seen a bloke heckled once at the comedy store, and someone shouted, "No one likes you, you know, like at school."
Oh.
And there was another very eccentric bloke. I think this was at the comedy store as well. He came on, he went, no, I don't know, I came, he did one of those sort of acts, you know, and somebody shouted, "Sort yourself out." So, Obama, I don't know how good he's got it.
The Frank Skinner Show. Listen live every Saturday morning from 8 on Absolute Radio.
On the subject of being heckled at gigs, we're all stand-ups on the show today, aren't we? We've all done a fair chunk of stand-up, and I'm assuming that there is a point where an audience will not find you funny no matter what you say, isn't there?
Take that back.
There is. There honestly is. There really is. And I once saw a comic who we all know doing an odd gig where I think that point had been reached, and he told a really good joke, and a few of them laughed in spite of themselves and then stifled that laugh.
Wow.
And a member of the audience went, "Too late." Out loud. And he had to go, "Yep, it's too late. I could have the best joke in the world right now, and the moment has passed."
Wow.
You will not trust me.
Well, there was a very... one of the funniest men I've ever known in my life was a man called Roger Mann. Is he before your time?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
And I saw him. He used to do a thing called the Egg Club, and he went on and he did his opening 5-10 minutes. It went really badly. I mean, he just didn't get a laugh. And then the first act went on, and they had to pull it round again. Anyway, a bit later in the evening, like beginning of the second half, they'd really warmed to Roger and seen what was funny about him, and they were laughing. He was just improvising and stuff, and they were really falling about laughing at him. And he said, "Oh, you didn't like me at the beginning, did you? But now," and they, you know, and they were all on his side. So he did the material he'd done at the beginning. He did it again, and it died again. Because not only did they not like it, but they'd heard it.
Good for him, though.
In the American version, it would have gone really well.
Yes. But afraid no. On the last tour I did, a bloke heckled me, and I forget what it was. It was something quite unpleasant and sort of out the blue in a gig that was going, you know, good. Mm-hmm. And I said to my put-down line, all the sort of witty and clever, I said, "I hate you and everything you stand for."
Yeah.
And I thought, you know, I'm not quite the cheeky chappy I used to be.
You know what? I've had one of those weeks where gigs have just been a bit odd, and I did one gig on Thursday nights where there was a table of women drinking and discussing every single joke and having loud personal chats throughout the show. By the time I got on, I had to put them down a couple of times, saying, "Look, you can't talk all the way through it. You can't talk." 45 minutes later, I've lost that charm, and I'm just being mean to them. And I came off, and they were complaining about me. They were so bad-mannered that I had to be bad-mannered back, and then they were complaining about it. And I felt slightly guilty and thought, how do people like Katie Hopkins cope when they are actually just mean to people right at the beginning?
Apropos of nothing.
And it was their fault. Like, it was totally their fault.
Yes.
But I ended up being the baddie in
Can I
the
say
situation.
we've only got your side of it. If any of those women are listening, do text in.
I don't think they remember where they were on Thursday, to be honest, but good luck.
Dear, is it
was
like that?
Oh, I was horrible to them.
I always thought the worst heckle I ever had was getting paid to get off in Edinburgh.
Is that right?
Yeah, in the Comedy Zone many years ago.
What happened? Somebody offered you money to get off?
It was
How
like
much?
20 quid.
The Cockerel would have been off like a shot.
Could have been out of his hand.
Oh,
probably
dear.
given him a wrist injury.
Did you take it?
I took it, yeah.
Respect. God, you could have got 10 homeless people to park your car with that. We were talking about the idea of homeless people doing valet parking, and Daisy, our producer, said, well, they really know the streets, don't they?
But I raised the point that how would you know if they had a valid driving licence?
Well, look, they don't have to take it that far. We're not going to be picky about it.
Frank
Skinner
on Absolute Radio.
Absolute Radio.
We've had a text that I would like to bring to Izzy's attention. Dear Izzy, I'm a driving instructor and a girl, so shut up, Ed.
Yeah, Ed. Ed tried so hard not to be sexist.
Give me a call after the show and I can explain properly about reverse parking. I stay in Edinburgh, so if you're up for the festival, I can take you out for a remedial parking lesson if you want.
I love the use of the word remedial.
Did she say remedial?
Yeah.
Oh.
I mean, actually, she split it into two words, remedial.
That's so nice of her.
Ironic.
It is very nice.
That's lovely.
Isn't it?
That is
I'm
lovely.
not going up to Edinburgh, but maybe I'll take a... I am going up for one night, actually, to do a radio thing. Maybe I'll try and fit in a radio.
That'd be good.
That would be brilliant.
I always like a trip where I've got something professional and something personal to do. It feels like it's got the yin-yang.
Well, I interviewed Andrew Lloyd Webber once, and I said, what are you doing next? And he said, you know what? He said, the thing is, I don't have an idea for my next show. I just don't have any ideas at all. He said, if any of your viewers have any, I'd love to hear from them in a sort of jokey way. And then I heard from him to say that a woman had said, I thought that they could make a musical out of Wilkie Collins' The Woman in White, so I've written a book for it and stuff. And of course that became quite a big West End musical, and it was through that. No. So maybe this could change your... this could be as big on the parking front.
Yeah.
Wow. And I think this should be a sort of a full stop on the parking texts and emails, just because of poor Carl parking.
I wouldn't mind getting it just a bit. I'm sticking out a bit at the back. I wouldn't mind just having one.
I've got one. I think this neatly ties it all up, actually.
Okay, go on.
All right.
This is from Phil in Liverpool, and he's talking about the throughie,
yeah.
which is where you drive around a supermarket car park and see a double space, one that you drive into, and then you do a throughie to the next space, meaning that when you come to leave, you can drive straight out, no reversing at any stage. And he and his girlfriend normally sing throughie, throughie, throughie as they drive in.
Very good. Well, now I'm in a position where I can park in the parent-toddler section.
Oh, nice.
That's made life a lot easier.
Nice.
Yeah.
Did I tell you I parked in one and a bloke came over and said, he obviously saw this grey-haired, doddering figure get out and said, "Excuse me, but you're supposed to have a child to park in." And I had like a thing on the window keeping the sun off him, and I drew it back in a fabulous reveal. And he went, "Oh, well, okay,
Right,
sorry."
I thought you were a magic act.
Oh, so pleased.
Anyway,
So
that's
pleased.
car parking. We can stop talking about car parking.
Yeah, so he can relax
Yeah,
now.
just listen. As regards Obama's hecklers, no, not in my house thing.
Yes.
I do have certain house rules.
What about heckling?
Not about heckling, no. God, it's like all bets are off for heckling me in our house. But I'm a stickler for table manners, apparently. And so I quite often say to the kids, "Can you close your mouths when you've got food in it? Can you, say please and thank you?" To the point where my mum bought me a little thing with some mealtime rules on it, and it says, "Keep your elbows off the table, eat your vegetables, try everything at least once, don't eat with your mouth open, say please and thank you, don't talk with your mouth full, excuse yourself before leaving the table, help with the clearing up, laugh, smile and enjoy being with your family." And that's up in our house.
That's up on the wall?
Yeah, it's on the wall.
Whoa.
And we abide by it. I mean, except for the elbows thing. I'm not that bothered about that. But
Not
all
bothered
the
about the
rest-
elbow. Oh, well.
Well, yeah, you've got to relax on
I
one
don't
of
like the
them.
idea of my kid coming to me and saying, I've become a heroin addict because you told me to try everything at least once. You've got to be careful with your advice. It's tricky business
Good
advice.
point. I see it in a different light now.
You're listening to Frank Skinner's podcast from Absolute Radio.
It seems a shame that my mum bought me the house rules. Surely, I'm the one that I know the
I thought she
table
might have
manners.
bought them
I think-
for you.
I think
so
they're
you were telling
ir-
your kids not to do it, but you were doing all that stuff.
Wasn't it ironic? Wasn't she taking the...
Oh yeah, she's maybe saying, "You're such a moaner, Alan, that here's
Yeah.
a little pointing out of your moaningness." It's a shame. It's a shame.
Good to have
Unnecessary.
it up on the wall, Alan.
I've often thought that. The thing is I get really angry about is people leaving the bread open.
The bread open.
So you open the sliced bread to cut and then leave it open. For me, it's mocking the world's poor.
You think so?
Yeah,
Where
because-
do you stand on a loose jar lid?
I don't mind that because that's
Oh, I don't
slow
like
to go
that.
off. But if you leave the bread open, you're going to lose at least a slice, maybe two, to staleness.
But if
What
you
about the
toast
inherent
it,
danger of picking up something that's got a loose jar lid and you think, I could drop that because you haven't fastened it. You haven't securely fastened the jam lid or whatever condiment we're discussing here.
Yes. I know what you mean.
Oh,
But it's
don't
not
like
like
it when,
bread. I think I grew up in a house where my dad said if we had a coal fire then, if we threw bread on the fire, the devil would come into our house.
so you've got a thing about bread being kept safe, haven't you?
Well, I think we were, encouraged to think about those that hadn't got bread.
but you can toast that end slice. Then it doesn't matter if it's
Yeah,
hard.
the devil can toast it. Hey, on his eternal griddle. That's what you're thinking.
You're thinking of George Foreman there.
Exactly. Yeah, that's George Foreman. Who told me he gets $1 a machine.
Wow.
That's a lot of money, isn't it?
Yeah.
It is a lot of money.
I don't like it when people leave, like 3 cornflakes and put it back in the cupboard.
Oh, yes. Mm-hmm. But would you rather... It's people like you that started the national obesity crisis.
What?
Because people have to eating a bit more than they want because they're worried that Izzy's going to say, "Oh, why did you put that back
No,
in the
because I
cupboard?"
suppose if there's, you could have half. What I often do is if there's not very much left, if there's slightly too much for a bowl, I'll
Yes.
have half of it and then half of another type of cereal.
Oh,
No?
Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
this is-
I can see that.
this is one of the things that my son rolls his eyes at, because if he has mixed cereal, I would always say, I never had mixtures. When I was a kid, we never thought of mixing cereals in the same bowl. Never occurred to us. And he'll always go, I'm so boring around the house.
You've got to add that to the rules
They
now.
just loathe me. No,
Yeah.
he's allowed to mix cereals.
Oh, right,
It's just,
okay.
I never thought of it. I don't think we thought of that in the 70s and 80s.
I used to do it from a very young age.
Did you really?
Yeah. But I was very innovative.
Different world, isn't it?
In
Different world.
I don't like it when people sift through the biscuits. You know, people say, have you got anything? Have you got
Cherry
anything to
picking.
eat? And I go, yeah. My friend Dan does it a lot, who Alan knows as well. Mm-hmm. He is allergic to nuts, so he asks about that. I say, no, they haven't got any nuts. And he lifts the lid off and then he goes,
With his hands?
Yeah, sort of sifts through them and then puts it back.
See, I had a friend that used to come round on a Sunday, and then he would go to the toilet, to sit down, which to do that in someone else's house, I was thinking out of the other, but he'd take the Sunday paper with him.
Oh, goodness.
And when he came back, it was like having a radioactive isotope in the kitchen. We all felt quite bad. Can I say, my doubt about Jean-Paul satire was because they're actually called the Jean-Paul Sartre experience.
Oh, so it was... Oh, I thought Jean-Paul satire was a really great pun.
Well, it was, but it was Daisy's, not theirs. Okay.
Skinner, Dean and Cochrane. Together, The Frank Skinner Show.
Absolute Radio.
I've been thinking about verbal tics this week because my mum started doing... Alan asked me a question, I'm going to demonstrate it. I think that's the best thing to do.
How are you doing?
Pardon?
I was saying
pardon.
how are you doing?
Pardon?
Is she a little hard of hearing?
Well, I now feel bad, because basically this week I've been going, why do you keep saying pardon halfway through the sentence?
Is it pardon, she's saying?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's borderline pudding,
Oh,
what you're saying.
Maybe she's asking for pudding and all
Maybe
that.
she is. She is. Do you keep her in a cell where you just pass her food through a letterbox?
I just passed her steak. She's
Oh,
just
see, no,
yearning
she
for
wants-
some
she
Black
needs
Forest
variety.
gatto.
Pudding.
You should extend your relationship with her by making her a nice meal.
That's my idea, actually, yes. Lemon meringue pie.
So she's not hard of hearing.
I don't think she is. She says that I mumble.
Pardon?
Congratulations. That's very excellent.
That was brilliant, Alan. You've peaked. with
Yeah,
that.
I usually... Yeah, the last hour of the show is rubbish for me, but this is 9:45. I hit my zone.
The other thing she does is she... I'll explain to her. She would go over there to get the...
Which is a
That's
trailer
it,
off.
that- That's just
she's always
laziness.
done that. She's always done that. I do feel bad because she's doing a lot of childcare for me at the moment. As we speak, she might even be listening. But
Well, maybe it's just fatigue.
yeah.
yeah.
Screaming,
She's
child
exhausted.
screaming in her ear has made her deaf, and she's too tired to finish in her own sentence. And you're here mocking her. Is that right?
I think I trail off my own sentences, but I think it's partly that I
Ronnie
get so...
Biggs. Ronnie Biggs, of course.
Yeah.
He didn't finish his sentences.
True. I think what happens is I start a sentence and then about 2/3 of the way through I become overwhelmed with how boring I am, and I just sort of like that. I just get bored of myself. That's not good, is it?
Oh, I love it. You see, I'm exhilarated by my own sentences.
But I think it's important to finish a sentence. Sort of,
Yes.
means you're living.
But if she's doing all that childcare, maybe she feels she can get time off for good behaviour.
Yeah, I think she probably can. I do feel a bit bad. But we went to the Isle of Wight recently, not with the baby.
To the festival.
No, because my uncle lives on the Isle of Wight.
Oh, what a great reason to go to the Isle of Wight in summer.
I know.
Must have been quite close to the festival as well. They must have been preparing for it.
Yeah, and he gives lifts to everyone. He used to drive famous people to their gigs and stuff. Cause
What, in a catamaran? And it's only just struck me that catamaran is very like Caitlin Moran, the writer.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, she must have had that before.
I don't know, but what if she hasn't?
Do you think?
What if she's listening to this singing, oh my God, I never thought of that? Actually, I think she's from Wolverhampton. I think she is, yeah. Well, there's posh people in Wolverhampton. I mean, they're in cars on their way through. Nevertheless. Okay.
Yeah, we went on the train, and I had a letter to post, and she was doing the trailing off in the middle of sentences thing, and we got on the train, and the ticket inspector started to come down, and she started to shout, "Man, man, man, man," and like all the men in the carriage were turning round because they didn't know which man she meant.
Yeah.
And he was the last person to look at us, and then he came down, and she went, "Is there a post box in?" And then just stopped talking.
And it needed the
The most
station that we're going
important,
to.
the hub of the sentence was missing.
Yes, that needed the. I mean, that's a crucial element.
Yeah.
Was there any idea that she thought there might be one on the train?
Well, yes, absolutely, because she used to be an inventor and she would have...
She used to be an inventor?
Yeah, when I was growing up.
Be an inventor?
Yeah, when I was growing up.
Did she invent the sentence shortener? I remember seeing it advertised on the telly when I was a kid, the Ronco sentence shortener. Why do you finish up? Yeah. I like man. She sounds like an alarm. Is she a feminist alarm? Did she invent that as well?
Yeah, she did.
Brilliant.
This is
Frank Skinner, Absolute Radio.
We've had a text that we could just, include the listenership in, the readers. Hi all, this isn't a heckle, but who is your female presenter today? Her voice sounds familiar, but I can't see her mentioned on the website in any way, shape or form.
Oh no, they've said in any way, shape or form.
I don't know if that's them...
deliberately winding me up.
I think they might be. It's bad timing, but it's Isy Suttie. What would you be most known for? It's probably the thingy in it.
Probably... voiceovers of tea bags.
Which tea bag is it?
Tetley.
Oh, okay.
Yum.
Jumping off a bridge in Matlock for a bet.
Oh yeah, I remember
that
that.
what you're known
Circa
for?
92. Yeah, I'd say those two
Peep show.
things.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll peep show, yeah.
Yeah, I was, I was going to put that at second and the bridge first, and then the tea bags.
You put the tea bags third.
Yeah.
Or did you put the milk first? You one of those?
Oh no, God no.
I wonder if anyone puts the sugar first.
Oh.
No one has sugar anymore.
No.
It's less common for sure.
We've got a nice...
Good chat,
Talking
this
about
one.
mums, we've got a lovely text saying... Whenever my 75-year-old mum takes my frail 95-year-old grandma to Tesco's, they often park in the mother and child parking space.
That is brilliant.
They have been questioned on many occasions, to which my grandmother always replies, I am the mother and this is my child.
That's
Nice.
brilliant.
Although they
Ruth.
should have a bit, they should have a bit next to the parent-toddler bit for senior people, old people and their children. They should have 95 and 75.
Well,
bracket.
I think that brilliant. She probably is toddling a little bit, the 75-year-old.
Or the
95-year-old must be. I thought you were going to say, when they ask her why she's parking there, she says, what?
Yeah, or half before they finish the sentence.
Yeah, exactly.
Pardon?
Pudding? Of course they do love pudding, the elderly.
They do. Yeah.
Oh, God, they love pudding.
We're teaching our baby... we're going to teach the baby Welsh and English. She's only 9 months.
Right.
So
Hot
Ellis
house.
speaks to her in
Hot
Welsh.
house.
Yeah.
Ellis is your partner.
He's my partner. His first language is Welsh, so he speaks to her in Welsh and I speak to her in English. She's making noises which sound like Welsh now, but I think that's
Well, they all do.
chance.
My stomach makes noises that sound like Welsh.
Yeah, mine too.
Yeah.
That's funny, actually. I hadn't thought of that.
When does the portal open for language? It's not a local pub. It's when does it open?
Is this today's texting? Are we
No,
going to
but
get
do you know what I mean?
text from
Yeah,
Is it
I
Crystal?
suppose you're absorbing... Are you absorbing stuff before you can speak? You must be, because babies cry in an accent, don't they? Did you know that?
Do they?
Do they?
Yeah. So, babies in, I don't know, Russia would cry in a different way.
Whereas in Birmingham, it'd be like,
Yeah. Is that true, or is that one of your jokes?
That's not a joke.
good inverted commas there.
No, that is true.
Wow, I know people laugh in an accent.
Yeah, there's no reason why...
No, they
babies
do.
cry.
I noticed that when I played in Ireland, I played in Belfast, and they go, ha, 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 ha. And then when you go down to Dublin, ha, 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 ha. Anyway, this is for any babies listening. I cry. I'm upset. Give me milk. Okay, I enjoyed that.
You're listening to Frank Skinner's podcast from Absolute Radio.
This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio with Alan Cockerel and Isy Suttie is here this morning. You can text the show on 81215, follow the show on Twitter at Frank on the Radio, email the show via the Absolute Radio website.
I don't know if you've seen P. Diddy's recent news.
Do you mean Diddy?
I mean Diddy.
No longer.
Did he drop the P?
He's dropped the P, yeah.
Oh, I still call him P. Diddy. I think I'm a step behind. What was he, Puff Daddy first?
He was he was Sean Combs, wasn't he, first? And then he was Puff Daddy, and then he became P. Diddy.
And now he's just Diddy.
No, he's just Diddy.
And then he'll be D.
D-man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Diddy man?
Diddy man.
Can't have that.
No.
That's taken.
Maybe just did.
Yeah.
He has allegedly attacked his son's American football coach with a kettlebell.
A kettlebell?
Do you know what a kettlebell is, guys?
I do know what a kettlebell is.
I didn't know.
I know
I had
you
to
do,
Google
because you
it.
work out.
Very familiar with the kettlebell.
I know what a kettlebell is. It looks like if Mickey Mouse became a Cyberman.
Yes.
That's what he'd look like.
Yeah, it also looks like... do you remember you brought in your bowling ball bag?
Yes.
It's like a bowling ball with a handle.
Yes, I do remember that.
If you were to fill that with cement, you could sort of fashion your own kettlebell, couldn't you?
Yes, well, it's just a weight, isn't it? I don't know why it has to have
It's
a
a weight
special
with
name.
a handle. I think they started in Russia and they were called poods.
Were they?
Yeah, I think so. They were used as weights at like the farmers' markets or something like that.
Is that the Russian for kettlebell?
I think it's something like that. You know, it might be a certain amount of weight, like you put it on, and that's, you know,
A standard, maybe there's standard weight.
Not funny, but good info.
Can you pass me the food, comrade? I just want to build up my abdominal muscles. So are we saying that Diddy is a communist?
Maybe. It's unlikely.
Can you still be in trouble in America if you're a communist?
Oh, I don't know about that.
Yeah, all right. Anyway, so what supposedly happened?
So supposedly, the coach, who's called Sal, was riding Justin badly on the field. I don't know what that means. It must be a technical term
like
for
telling him off.
Yeah, he was telling Diddy's sonny, Siddy.
Yeah.
I don't know what's he called, Diddy, little Diddy?
He's called Justin.
Justin
Diddy.
He's not called Justin Diddy.
Justin Coombs, surely.
Yeah, he's called Justin Coombs.
But do you think someone said, one of the dads hit the coach with a kettlebell, and they said, Diddy? And said, oh, thanks very much. I'll arrest him immediately.
They can be quite heavy, though. I'm assuming
What,
that
rappers?
He
Biggie
swung it
Smalls.
at him, but it didn't connect.
You've got to be careful with the kettlebell
Tell me
swing,
about
because if
it.
you overextend at the end, you can really pop your back out.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Also, if you're hit in the face with it, I imagine.
Oof. There could be quite a lot of damage.
It's
Diddy's
not a
got
good
the
story.
same problem as me with his name, like Izzy, is he?
It's like
So
a question
someone
mark.
said to me, like, is he a boy or is he a girl when I had short hair?
Oh.
Did he do it?
Or if you said, I've bought a new glove puppy, someone could say, Isy Suttie.
Oh yeah, that's a double whammy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, I haven't bought a glove puppet for ages.
Anyway.
Oh, actually, that's not true. I bought one relatively recently, but not for me. No, yeah, I just
Apparently
use it. I use it in my car for acknowledging when people let me out and stuff. I just have him waving from the steering wheel, and you always get a little smile. Always get a little smile.
Oh yeah.
I actually met someone who'd worked with Diddy.
Oh, yeah. Did he?
And, yeah. And it's this songwriter guy, and he didn't sound like and didn't sound like the brightest man, I'll be honest with you.
Didn't he, did he?
He didn't. He said he was actually the bloke I was talking to was the bloke who, he wrote the Birdie song. So he'd made an absolute fortune.
Oh yeah.
And he said Diddy was a bit of an idiot.
Oh.
I think his actual phrase was, Diddy, 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 Dom. Diddy, 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 Dom. Diddy, 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 Dom.
Skinner, Dean and Cochrane. Together, The Frank Skinner Show.
Absolute Radio.
I must admit, the first thing I thought when it said that P. Diddy may have attacked him with a kettlebell was how heavy was the kettlebell.
Oh,
like,
yeah, they
'cause
come in many sizes.
varying weights. But apparently the coach defended himself with the nearby resistance band. He just held it up like that and it went boing. And then Diddy himself fell back onto one of those big Swiss balls. And then the coach hit him with a foam roller. It was quite a scene.
That would have been your favourite thing ever.
Yeah, and then he foot swept him with a skipping rope that was nearby. He just carries on.
Foot swept him. Now we get into martial arts terminology.
Always within grasp, isn't it?
Wow. Well, Isn't this... Oh, this is just men, isn't it? This is why we have wars, because of men do things like this. Because the coach... I had a look at a picture of him. He had a very big neck.
He did have a big neck.
And that's always a worry, I think.
Mm-hmm. But Diddy's been arrested.
I don't like a big neck, man.
I don't either.
Has he been arrested?
Yeah, he was arrested for it, and one of the counts that he was arrested for was of making a terrorist threat, which seems a strange thing to your son's sports coach.
Oh,
I think he might have said, "I'm going to destroy you" or something like that. I mean, that sounds like it's just conversation during an argument, isn't it? I don't know.
I don't know. I imagine he's...
Yeah,
got a temper on him.
But it's not all bad.
I don't think he's got a tiny temper on him.
Tiny temper.
No, I don't think so.
There's also been a good Diddy in the news this week. There's a chap that was watching a baseball game and holding his child, and he caught a baseball.
Can I say before you tell this story?
That's it. I've told it.
No, hold on. I was once with my dad in a pub, and he had an argument with someone, and he said, "I'm going to put my fist right through your chest." He said to the bloke. And I felt a bit... Actually, I don't think I did feel ashamed. I think I felt sort of proud.
Yeah.
But that's a good thing. That's like a superhero.
Yeah, but he was being very aggressive and stuff. But the truth is, I'm going to be honest, I was really proud of him because he was being hard and frightening.
What was the
And that's why we have wars.
Yeah.
What is it with testosterone, is he?
I know. What was the fight about? Can you remember?
Oh, it could have been anything. He could have he was the classic, he could have a fight in an empty house.
No, I don't really have fights. Maybe
He had an enormous row. I mean, a terrible, terrible row and falling out with my mum because she couldn't remember the name of Mario Lanza, the bloke, the light opera singer from the 1950s.
Had exactly the same row in my house this week.
Yeah, a little bit. So sorry, I'm sorry I interrupted you, Alan. I had a terrible flashback.
The good dad that caught the baseball whilst holding a child.
Wasn't he feeding the child?
I think he might have been.
I think he might have been feeding the child with a bottle.
I haven't seen this incident because I tell you what, I've made a new pledge. If I put anything on the internet and there's an advert on the front of it, I stop watching it immediately.
Really?
And at first I was really frustrated at stuff I was missing, but now I've just got... I remember in the old days you missed everything, basically. And also, a man is bottle feeding a baby at a baseball match and he catches the ball. I can sort of picture that in my mind.
Yeah.
So I'm all right with it. But it was... did it look good?
It did, but you didn't see the end of it, where
No.
he gets confused and he throws back the baby and keeps the ball. It was a strange scene right at the end.
Threw out the baby with the...
with the baseball.
Baseball. I can't make that quite work.
This is
Frank Skinner, Absolute Radio.
We're going down email way.
I mean, normally the emails are addressed principally to you, or they might say Frank and the team, or Frank, Alan and Emily. This one has got a conspiratorial tone, if you will. It says, "Hi Alan, my wife asked me to contact you to tell Frank Skinner that he is wrong about fainting being a myth because she herself fainted for the first time last night. However, as
Can
I
I
was
just stop you there?
Yes,
Izzy,
of
have you
course.
ever fainted?
No, I felt faint.
Exactly.
Okay. Is that it? Is that your interjection?
Your witness.
However, as I was asleep, I didn't witness the incident, and so I don't know what to believe.
Hold on a minute. So he was asleep.
Yeah.
So
And
they'd gone to bed.
Mm-hmm.
They'd gone to bed late at night.
Yeah.
She's... what's happened is she's fallen asleep.
Yeah.
She hasn't
Temporarily.
fainted. Did she say, "Oh God, how long was I out?" About 8 hours. You actually got up twice to go to the toilet. That's not fainting, that's sleeping.
Well, he doesn't know who to believe. Also, despite being more than frowned upon, I just wanted to say I love the show. A nice weekly slice of the UK for a Brazil-bound expat. And tell Frank, if he thinks there are a lot of people who can't walk straight in England, he should...
Can I say that, in case this sounds like I've been mocking the disabled? When I walk down the street, Izzy, I find that there are some people who walk in front of you, and instead of just walking in a straight line so you can go around them, and often they've got a couple of bags or stuff, and they move, and you just can't get past
They move from side to side.
Yeah, and you can't get past them. It's like if someone drove like that.
They need indicators, these people.
Yes, they do.
I
think
sighed.
it's because they're on their phones a lot of the time, isn't it? They just sort of wandering.
I think their mind is wandering, thus so does their body.
The mind follows the body follows the mind.
Is that right? Who said that?
I don't know.
Did you make that up?
I think an exercise coach says it on a YouTube video that I've seen.
Oh, okay.
That's really good.
Yeah, excellent work.
I accidentally sighed into a man's ear yesterday.
Sighed?
Yeah, in Euston. I mean, he was walking right in front of me and then just stopped dead, and I went, oh. But because he'd stopped dead, it was right in his ear.
Oh dear!
He might have thought it was hot breath. I don't know.
I tell you what I've developed. This is a thing my dad used to do. And I haven't been punching my fist through people's chests, but he was very big on tutting.
Oh, really?
And I've started doing it, and I mean I do it exactly in situations like. And you can't stop, and it's people really don't like it.
I imagine once, yeah. The thing that annoys me the most is when people don't hold doors open. I don't mean because I'm a woman. I mean, if you're about to go through a door and someone, you'd expect them to hold it open, wouldn't you?
I can live with that. What I can't live with is when I hold it open for them and they don't say thank you.
Right.
Oh.
I can't resist but go. Now, what I always do is I say, don't mention it. Oh, you didn't.
I go, thank you.
There you go. I've got into some quite tense conversations as the strength of that. But you know what? I'd rather be bashed down in the street.
Would you?
The next thing is I want to adopt my mother's habit of seeing friends across the road and going, woo! Why did she do that? She did that her whole life. Everybody, woo!
Nice.
What kind of a call is that?
Fun.
Did I mention she was an owl, my mother?
The Frank Skinner Show. Listen live every Saturday morning from 8 on Absolute Radio.
We were actually still in the middle of that email, actually.
Oh, sorry, did I interrupt?
Actually, I said actually a lot there. He was saying that you frown upon people walking in a wavy line here in the UK. He says you should see Brazil. A straight-walking pedestrian is a rarity. Lots and lots of lurching, stopping and sideways stumbling at all hours of the day and
That's
night.
the lambada. That's the mistake he's made.
Yeah.
He's walked into a lambada procession.
Do you think that's what it is? Everywhere he goes?
Sounds a bit like the
One big
lambada.
I love the idea that everyone's doing the lambada the whole time there.
Yeah, well, don't you get that feeling about Brazil, that
Yeah.
it's constant party time?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I don't
God,
actually
they like a
associate-
high gossip,
Do they?
those dancers. Oh, dear.
Do they really?
In that heat. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The only good note is that they don't often mind collisions. I suppose they are used to them.
That's because it's a party. It's constant party there.
I don't associate the Brazilian with the wavy line. It's interesting. Isn't
You
it?
don't associate them with partying?
No, I do associate
I
them with
see
party.
where you're.
but not,
yes,
not,
I'm.
not the wavy line. Straight lines. Anyway, solid atmosphere.
You have a Brazilian theme in your fitness.
Yeah, I love Zumba.
See, I've never heard of Zumba before.
I've not heard. I know what Zumba is. It's a dancey
It's a
fitness class.
Is it one of
isn't
those that's a bit like dancing, a bit like fighting?
That's capoeira. isn't it?
Oh,
Yeah, that's
how many
capoeira.
Brazilian dances are there?
Loads.
9?
I think there's loads. It sounds like the pedestrians are doing them, to be honest.
There's such a good atmosphere at Zumba there. I mostly go for the vibes.
The vibes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I did actually try and drive to Zumba in Annerley the other day and couldn't park and just carried on driving.
Just went home.
Yeah.
You probably lost more calories through stress
Yes.
in doing that than you
Definitely
did.
true.
The Zumba career has been really affected by the parking, hasn't it?
Did I tell you I must have told you this before, that someone told me the way to learn the lambada is imagine you've got a pencil up your bottom pointing out and that you're drawing a figure 8.
Oh, yeah.
And that gives you those wiggles. Try it. There are people at home now trying that, absolutely, definitely.
I'm doing it.
There you go. Oh, can you stop doing it?
You're listening to Frank Skinner's podcast from Absolute Radio.
We've discussed receiving gifts many times on this show, but the Queen has had a spectacular gaffe of receiving.
She's got a spectacular gaffe.
She has.
I've seen her driven past it many times.
Queen baffled by portrait gift is how one newspaper covered it.
This story.
It's a painting of her as a child on a horse and
with her father.
Was it a father or grandfather?
No, it's a father that's leading it.
But yeah. But she was given the horse by her grandfather.
Okay.
I had a strange thing reading this story. She was given the horse, aged 4 years old, and I know, like deep down, I know that the Queen was once a child, but then I read this and thought, she was given a horse, aged 4. That's quite a big gift. And then I had this realisation of, wow, I think the Queen might have been spoiled, like as a kid.
Yeah, that's possible.
Yeah, she must have had a lot of stuff.
What a horse? What's that in modern money?
My daughter's just turned 4. I did not spend that much. That's for sure.
That doesn't surprise me for a second.
We got her toys, mainly toys.
Yeah,
some clothes, that sort of stuff.
But I think the reason she doesn't like that picture is because the horse is blue.
Yeah.
So what?
But it does look. I mean, if you look at the picture, it does look a bit weird.
Yeah. To quote Her Majesty, that's a funny colour for a horse.
Yeah. If I'd have been the German, whatever he was, who was he? The bloke? He wasn't the Chancellor. He wasn't.
I think he was the President.
Yeah, he's the one under Angela.
German's president.
It's a circle under Angela.
Yeah.
It's a bit underangular, in my opinion. When she said that, she said it in a real funny colour for a horse. Mm-hmm. To me, I've always had a soft spot for the Queen, as you know. Mm-hmm. To me, I'm finished with the Queen now.
Oh, really?
To me, that's up there with English football fans, like wrecking towns and stuff.
You think?
That sort of deliberate celebration of ignorance that you normally associate with, that's the way it's Essex, coming from the Queen. It's a bit of it's arty, funny colour for a horse.
Oh,
Do you
right.
think she could have meant it as a kind of backhanded compliment?
No. I don't think
that to bed.
Definitely. I honestly thought it was a terrible, terrible moment.
Oh.
If I'd have said, don't start with your I know about horses rubbish.
Well, it says in the paper, that's a funny colour for a horse, said the Queen, who probably knows as much about equine matters as anyone alive, which I think might be overstating it. I don't think she's a scientist.
Doesn't know as much about art.
No, I do feel sorry for that artist, because that's a big gig, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some woman painted that for the Queen. A picture of her and her dad, a lovely thing, and then the Queen...
Yeah, because
didn't
she also say something like, is that supposed to be my dad?
Mm-hmm.
And that's supposed to be my father, is it?
Oh, yeah, not dad.
But
and the Duke says, you recognise him? And she says, no.
But it could have been much worse, because I read the artist interviewed and she said, I was looking on the internet for photographs. So imagine if she'd picked a different one. There's some really inappropriate photographs that she could have painted for the Queen. So I suppose a horse with her on it was, at the right end of
I just think it's
photography
rude,
spectrum.
Deliberately lowbrow. It's the worst thing that's ever
Queen
happened.
Or the painting?
The Queen.
Oh, right.
Don't mention the Queen to me. Oh, she doesn't mind a blood-covered stag being the wrong colour.
The Frank Skinner Show. Listen live every Saturday morning from 8 on Absolute Radio.
Good luck to everyone, by the way, who's down in London for Pride today. Although it's done us out of our brunch.
Yes.
Because we go to... Can you call it... Is it all right to say a gay restaurant?
I think you have in the past. I don't see why that should change.
And every Pride I know I say this, but I don't allow the team to eat there, because I don't think a straight person should take a seat there. I think we should... It's their day. It's not our day. So we give them a bit of room.
Yeah.
Right, come on, that's all right.
Yeah.
And is it still... Can I ask a question? Is it still called Gay Pride? Because people only seem to call it Pride
I think it's
now.
just called Pride now, isn't it?
Oh, it's like Diddy. People are dropping...
Diddy.
People's names are coming off. It's like an overloaded cart going over a hill.
Diddy's dropped the P and Pride has dropped the gay.
Yeah.
What's the world coming to?
I've been thinking about how the Queen could have said that stuff and not been meaning to be horrible.
How?
Well, you know, she could have a bad day. She could be a bit hungry.
I'm sorry.
Hungover.
Yeah, you know, like when
Just
you're
a minute. Just
you know
a
when
minute.
you're at a wedding and you're hungry and you can be a bit narky.
She could be hangry. You know,
Hangry, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, but, you know, we pay her a lot of money not to be narky.
You do.
I do. I pay her a fortune not to be narky. And that's her job, being nice. That's
know,
a
but
full-time job.
She
Yeah,
is
the
a
perks
human.
are all right, aren't they? The perks are okay.
She's a human, but that's her job. If her job was, you know, carrying coal, you'd expect her to carry coal.
She got a horse when she was 4.
What I
that's
don't
pretty
like,
spoiled.
these are two people who've had the best education you can probably have.
Yeah.
And it's that thing about, art, unless it's absolutely straightforward. If it's a slightly sort of hint of modern art, we should all condemn that. And it makes it like we're not being fooled by this
I
the
don't
way
know.
some people are.
I'm
I
gonna
do
play
know.
devil's advocate here. 'Cause
Are you?
It was a pain.
You have to do this now as dark as how. Who was the devil's advocate on Radio 4? You all right with the accent?
No.
Good luck.
It was a painting from a photograph. There's no real excuse for getting the colour wrong on a painting from a photograph. Because then you may as well have just handed her the photo. Like, this is obviously better than
What, just printed it off from the internet?
Yeah.
I've told this before, but I'm going to tell it because I think Izzy will understand where I'm coming from. I once saw a naked bike ride go over Waterloo Bridge, and it was a lot of completely naked people on bikes, and they were protesting about, I don't know what it was, but it was really, they were all in very good spirited, and, you know, it takes guts to cycle naked for all sorts of reasons. And there was a guy who had like a couple of kids who really looked like Mr. Normal Man. And he said, weirdos. And that is what the Queen and the Duke of Edinburgh were doing. They said anything that isn't absolutely normal and traditional is rubbish. Of course, the woman, she did employ a bloke to get her art for her, the Queen.
Did she?
Yeah. Sir Anthony Blunt turned out to be a communist spy.
Is that right?
Yeah.
No.
I think she should stay away from art. But I'll tell you what, I don't know if Sir Anthony Blunt is listening this morning, but if he's out there, I think he's dead, actually. Putin's PRS will be going up today.
Yeah, 3 times you've used that.
Yeah, but, you know, it gets better. Okay, so thank you so much for listening today. Thank you, Izzy, for joining us. It's been a joy.
I've had such a good time. I've had about 10 cups of caffeine in 3 hours. Isn't it?
Fantastic. No tea in it, just pure caffeine she drinks. That's what they like up north. And can I say, please, 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 I advise you at 12:30am, which is officially Sunday morning, to watch England play Canada in the World Cup. It's a quarter-final. And, you know, it's a good time to rally together. That's the Women's World Cup. Thank you so much for listening. If the good Lord spares us and the creeks don't rise, we'll be back again this time next week. Now get out.
The Frank Skinner Show on Absolute Radio. Back Saturday morning from 8. Tune in live for the full Frank experience.
Absolute Radio.